moving forward to the next episode, here are a couple things that I'd like to see. First, I'd like to see more of a few of the women. Jackie, Ashley F., and Leslie H. didn't go on a date last time, so we really didn't see much of them, even in the cocktail party. So Sean selected them to continue, gave them a rose, so I'd like to see a little bit more of them and see who they really are. A couple people that were on the group date, but we really didn't get to see much of in any of the clips, is Taryn, Daniela, and Catherine. They both seem nice. They have some positive qualities about them. So I'd like to just see more and see a little bit of who they really are. Looking forward, Sean says, is one of these girls really bad? And I'm naive and I don't know it. Well, from the previews and clips, we know that a couple of them don't seem to be very wholesome or in line with what Sean's looking for as far as the character and the integrity and the personality of the person he's looking to be a match with. And so we hope that he finds that out. We know that he'll find it out sooner or later, I would think, as we look at some of the previews. But as we look forward, we see an ambulance coming. We see a possible physical attack. We see an ex-boyfriend or an old boyfriend coming back and maybe confronting Sean, we saw in last episode's previews. So there's some physical activity. There's going to be some adversity. I want to see more of what happens in the house. I want to see these women, when they're not in front of Sean, they're not putting on their best, when they're just their normal, natural selves, so to speak, but dealing with a little bit of adversity, obviously, in the situation that they're in. Who are they really at that point? That's what I want to see. I want to see more of the house, and I want Sean to see more of that. Now, is he going to get that through, KCB or Desiree or people being tattletales, which is hard because it becomes a he said, she said kind of thing, and who do you believe in those situations? I would love Sean to just be able to be in the upper balcony just looking down in the kitchen as the women are interacting, or maybe being in a back room, or as they did with the prank, be watching on the hidden camera situation. So we'll see how he finds out and how that information is being shared with us, the viewers, but especially with Sean. Another thing as we move forward is trying to figure out how physical is Sean going to be. I mean, he talks about his faith and his spiritual values being important to him, his parents, and I think his parents' opinion and their values being important to him, and him embodying that and growing his kids in that same kind of mindset. So how physical is Sean going to be? I think he gave us a hint of that with the Harlequin photo shoot. I think a couple other contestants in the past would have been, much more amorous physically, much more impulsive with their activities, and much more lewd, possibly, and in the actions. But Sean wasn't. He was much more G-rated. He was appropriate. He was wholesome. He was caring. He had limits and he had boundaries, and that was good and healthy to see. And hopefully he carries some of those limits and boundaries as he's going to be in some deeper situations, some tempting hot tubs, bath, the privacy suite, those kind of things. So how is Sean going to handle that physical aspect? We want to see Sean have some more depth with women. We want to see these women really share deeper. We want to see Sean dig. Now, sometimes that's a little bit difficult to dig because the other person feels uncomfortable when you dig. It's sort of like surgery. In order to get to deeper areas, you have to cut. And as we've seen with Sean, he's a nurturer. He's a caretaker. He doesn't like people to feel uncomfortable around him. He likes to be the one that helps make them feel comfortable, or at least have them feel comfortable around him. But to get to know somebody deeper, to really push some of the more difficult issues in their life, sometimes that person doesn't feel comfortable. And Sean's got to have a comfort level with that, and I want to see him take that mature step to really push. He didn't really push Emily in the past season of The Bachelorette. He didn't really push her and ask her difficult questions. He sort of let her skate by with either pat answers or superficial answers. And if he's really going to get to know these women, if they're not going to present their sort of skeletons in their closet, he's going to have to push and read between the lines and find those. And that's going to be for some awkward, uncomfortable times, and he's got to be able to tolerate that. A significant part of Sean's life that he's expressed to us in the past is his faith. His Christian beliefs are very powerful for him, are very significant for him. And as he chooses a wife, I would think that he's going to want a wife that shares those same kind of views, because he values them so much that he's going to want to raise his children with those views. So raising your children in a house with both parents having different views leaves your kid in a conflictual situation or puts them in the middle. And I don't think Sean wants to do that. So I think faith is very important. So having those faith discussions, which we really haven't seen in the past on the Bachelor or Bachelorette where they talk about faith in any kind of significant way. I think that's important for Sean. We don't really see it in TV very much, but I think it's something that he's going to delve into, and it's going to be interesting to see how he handles that and how the women that he's interviewing and paring his list down and shortening the field, what their responses to it are and how they handle that depth of questioning as well. Certainly, we want to see more of the female-to-female interactions. I want to see Sean get more depth with the women individually, but the female-female interactions both in group dates and in the house is pretty comical. You get to see base behavior as it really is, and get to see these women for their true colors. And as you increase stress, you increase emotional volume, and as you increase emotional volume, you decrease thinking volume. As you decrease thinking volume, you increase impulsivity. When you got increased impulsivity and high emotional volume, you get a lot of drama and a lot of danger. And like I said, we saw an ambulance, we saw some physical activity, maybe pushing and shoving that happened. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens in these next couple episodes. So look forward to talking to you after those. Thanks. Bye now.